Hi, I'm Sally Boyd, and I'm your host for the Activate Your Life Through Astrology Summit. My guest today is Corrina Steward. Corrina Steward is a soul wealth coach. She is known for activating people's soul purpose and creating miracle money and life breakthroughs to live your dream life. Corrina is an energy realignment specialist and teacher of the spiritual science of heart manifestation. Corrina is an energy realignment specialist and teacher of the spiritual science of heart manifestation. A former United Nations consultant and Ivy League graduate, she awakens the transformational leaders to pioneer evolutionary change on the planet. Hi, Corrina.
Hi, Sally. It's so awesome to be here with you.
So it really is. This is so amazing. I'm just thrilled. I really am. This is not at all what I, this is not at all what I thought would ever happen.
Yeah, shifting into a new dream, right? That's what's going on here. We could get into that, but what is reality and what are you manifesting and getting to create? I'm so excited to get into these topics with your audience today.
Okay, so I want to know, I know the viewers want to know, I know, but first of all, let me tell the viewers that Corrina has been my life coach now for almost a year, and I have to say that she has helped me through some rocky times that would be, and her team also, I've got to give her team some credit too because they're amazing, but to say that I have been able to transform my life would be an understatement. And so that is why I wanted to make sure that she got on the show, but also she's probably the reason why I'm doing this show to begin with. So that's why we're here. And she's not an astrologer, but she does know everything about living ease, breathing ease, balance, and abundance. And getting out of fear and chaos. So I can't think of a better person to speak on that subject. So Corrina, can you tell the viewers why you, or how you even got started in this work?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, my journey is typical and atypical at the same time. One of the things that I discovered about myself is that I am what I call a prototype of who we can be as human beings. And that prototype means, what I mean by that is, just think of it like that ideal model, right? We all want ease, we want flow, we want to be able to manifest and create what we desire. Well, I today can say I sit in a place of that power. I sit in that presence of what I call a holy presence, a God presence that I'm connected to as I am. But that wasn't true for me always. And instead, I was taken through a very accelerated path of awakening to get to these understandings that we're going to talk about today. And what that meant for me was, through a series of awakenings, I had my first awakening in my 20s. And that was more going through like personal and emotional upheaval and, realizing, I think it was like 27, 28, and I had accomplished everything that I thought I would accomplish in my life. Like seriously, I'd gone to Yale, I had traveled the world, I was working for the United Nations, I was doing really great work. I had published a book, I'd been in academic journals, presented my research around the world, all these amazing things that, I thought, well, I remember having this moment saying, is this really it? Because I found my soulmate. I was like, okay, so like, how do you not even hit 30 and be here? I thought this would take a while. And it turns out for me, I was barely getting started. And in fact, that whole chapter of my life was an illusion, to be honest. It was a small speck of who I would become and what I would do in this life. So I started to have these awakening experiences during that early wave of awakening, which meant for me, this was atypical in that I awoken overnight. I was clairvoyant, had a dream. So I'm a Pisces, I'll put that in here. Maybe that would help, and that definitely is very archetypical of a Pisces, right? It's the you know, it's that highest consciousness of spiritual consciousness. And for me, again, like prototype, I'm like that ideal Pisces. I awakened overnight, clairvoyant, tapped in. I could see different realms. I could see energy. I received these healing gifts very fast, but I didn't know what it was for. I didn't fully understand why. And certainly during that time, you know, I felt very isolated. What that meant as I went through that, this is the dark night of the soul. I went through a dark night of the soul experience. You know, it's that hero's journey, where, you know, I have all these amazing gifts. I could see the power of them. I mean, I literally could shift reality like instantly. Family members could just hang out with me and like incredible things would just happen. Like manifestation. I have a cousin. She's like, I just need to hang out with you because like everything always like happens that I'm thinking about, like, you know, desiring, wanting, just like fun, juicy, amazing things, but also really deep and meaningful spiritual experiences would happen. Well, then, you know, it all really came together for me during a near-death experience where this was during the time I was pregnant with my son, and he was very late, like almost a month late. He was due on Christmas. Very auspicious, this whole experience with him. And anyhow, so he ended up coming like 3 weeks late, and it was a planned C-section. And long story short, the surgery went fine, but afterwards everything went wrong. I ended up in, you know, bleeding and internally in surgery. I saw my life, as people may say, flash before my eyes. And I saw this other reality where my husband was raising our 2 kids, and I released my life. And what happened at that time, and when I say I released it, and it was that something came over me that I was truly okay with not staying in this reality, in this dimension. I was okay with it. And I was in the center of the universe, and I was in this amazing love, and I could hear the sound of love. I could feel the presence of God, and it was just amazing. And I was okay with whatever would happen. And during that time, you know, there were other things that were going on. It was all very fast moving. I was getting blood transfusions, rushed into surgery. I saw an angel that came and said, you know, I'm ready to help you die. And I said, that's okay. I sent it away. I said, I'm good. You know, I know how to die. I'm sovereign. Because at this point, you know, I've had a spiritual awakening. I'm aware of who I am. I'm aware of my power. I know that I'm a sovereign soul, and that, you know, I'm capable of anything that I desire. I know how to walk time and space. And so I survived that. And when I came out of that, I lived through a period of what I call 3 months of grace. And these 3 months of grace is when everything that had been working on me the years before, all these spiritual gifts, all these, you know, downloads of universal knowledge that I call the laws of universal manifestation, it all started to make sense. I was being shown how I would put this together to work on our money system, to work on wealth. And ultimately, Sally, truly it was about freeing humanity, freeing and liberating humanity from you know, the chains that the old money system holds on us, this human created money system, so that we would have access to the universal laws of abundance and greater freedom for all of us. So, you know, it was during that experience that I said, okay, you know, like I got it and I'm ready, because I was always ready, to be honest. You know, I was someone who was, you know, I just knew. I was born with this knowing that I was here to do something really big on the planet. And, you know, so that led me to, you know, working with clients and really building a movement that I call a Money as Love movement, to shift the vibration of money on the planet into a higher consciousness, a higher vibration that is, you know, love is one of those vibrations and one of those relationships that we can have with money. And, you know, to say, you know, with that, you know, what happened, right? I live in the place of my dreams in the Caribbean and Puerto Rico. I've got my 2 beautiful children, my husband, a thriving business. You know, all these things became possible truly because I followed the steps in the path of my awakening, even when they were tough, even when they were challenging, and because I followed these simple rules of universal manifestation. Sally, you're on mute. We can hear you right now. Here we go.
Sorry, I was coughing. I didn't want to cough over it.
I know.
You know, this happened very quickly for you because Emmanuel is only like not even 3 yet, is he?
He just turned 3 like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
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 So what? Okay, so I can remember. It's been let's see. It's been about 14 months ago that I even saw you actually on one of these summits similar to this, but it was a different type of summit, had a different theme. And one of your gifts was a what was it? I can't remember, but it was a meditation, and I want to say it was 3 or 5 day meditation. And I remember even listening to you talk. There were a couple of people that kind of resonated with me, but for some reason, and you were using this language, and I thought, well, that sounds like something out of some sort of silly fantasy movie. That's silly, you know. I didn't understand what she's talking about. That's so crazy. She's crazy, you know. But for some reason, I listened to you. I downloaded what you had, and I think that was the first and only. At that time, that was the first and only online summit I had ever even listened to. And I listened to those meditations. And when I was listening to those meditations, I thought, she has an astrologer, or she knows a lot about astrology, because the things that you were speaking about, specifically, you were talking about old money structures are breaking down.
Right.
The old money is going to change. It's going to change to the light workers, you know, the healers. Can you speak into that? Because that specifically, that one thing spoke so much to Uranus and Taurus. I just remember that to me, and I remember saying that to you with my very first coaching call.
Yeah.
And you were like, I don't know anything about that. And I was like, he doesn't?
No. Yeah.
That. And I was like, what? And I said, you're going to be really famous. And you were like, uh-huh. And that was like in the summer. And your business has just boom.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, it's what happens when you hit a pulse. I mean, when you hit a pulse, which is a big pain point on the planet, and, you know, money obviously is a huge one. But as you're pointing out, here's the thing, there's a few things that, the reasons why I know, right? First of all, and this is possible, you know, astrology is great because it gives you this tool to, you know, increase your understanding, increase your awareness about yourself and the world and the dynamics that are going on. Now, here's the other thing that I will say about that is we have this internal system within us, which we can simply call our intuition. It's also what I would call like a higher perceptive system abilities that we have. These are intuition, the ability to have inner sight and inner vision, the ability to hear things, you know, clairaudience. You know, we have these gifts. This is actually part of our design. It's part of our, what I call the divine human blueprint. So when I started, you know, in the beginning here saying, see, I'm a prototype, I was told that a long time ago through my higher self, you are a prototype of the new human, of who we are all going to become. But you're carving this pathway to demonstrate the capabilities of humanity. And that is why it happened so quickly. It actually is DNA activation that just gets turned on, and then these abilities open up. So when that happened, I was able to see the future. I was able to see also the present moment of the dynamics, like you're describing these planetary dynamics, but I could see where the shifts were happening, where the tensions were, and where things would bust open. You know, and, you know, because what's beautiful in my experience, and I really wish this for everyone, because this is how you come into knowing, like you just know, which is I didn't know anything about the New Age. I didn't know anything even about religion because I wasn't baptized. I wasn't brought up on a religion. But I always had like some connection to God. I didn't know why. It was always just inside me. Now, what's beautiful about that then is, you know, you learn it in this sort of like pure way, I would say. So I learned about, for example, what, you know, astrology talks about is coming to the Aquarian age and moving into, I learned about all that before I even read about it. It came into me and I was told, I was taken to the center of the galactic core. I was taken there and I said, what is this? What's happening? And then I heard it's the unfolding. And I said, well, what is that? Like, what's the unfolding, right? And then I saw this flower opening up and then it was all downloaded into me and I just got it and I understood. And then I was taken, and this is interesting, Sally, you're gonna love this. And I would love if you have any insights on this because I'm taking my, you know, my private group called the New Code to Stonehenge in a couple weeks. And when this first started happening to me about getting the downloads about the unfolding, I wasn't taken to Stonehenge. And I was shown to turn the clock of time at Stonehenge. And I actually did it then. Now, here's what I understand about that, Sally, is I believe that that is actually activating the Aquarian age in the physical. Because what I did and what I was shown was Stonehenge is a portal. And I was shown it's a stargate. And all the stones came together. They were like complete again. They were whole, you know, because so many of them now are knocked over and cracked and stuff. They all came together. Then there was the spiral of time, which is the spiral of the universe, which is cosmic time. And cosmic time was downloaded into me. And then I was shown that I needed to, because of the codes I carry, and we can talk about that, the codes that I carry, and the reason I came to this time-space reality was to turn on the new clock of time for the new age. And wow. I will be there in 2 weeks at Stonehenge. I did it then in this etherical space, and now I will physically be standing there doing that.
That's incredible.
It's mind-blowing, right? This is the first time I've actually told that story, Sally, like to that level of completion, because something about this being about astrology is giving me that piece, like, oh, there's the other dot. Like, I'm connecting the dot now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so incredible. And I don't doubt this at all,
right.
Because I've had some powerful experiences with you. So I don't, you know, I mean, there's no question to me that this is, you know, I mean, I've had some really incredible power and spirits on me right now. So yeah. I have no doubt that that's what you're going to do. I don't know what that means because I don't understand all of this. And let's talk about that. Because,
right.
You know, you know, because like, okay, so just for the viewers, and I'm not the only one. And I'm sure they're kind of going like, what is she talking about? Some of these people are going, no. Okay, because Corrina's, the people that are in the Wealth Conscious, are you still doing the Wealth Conscious Academy?
Yeah, we have a new group starting in April. Yep. Okay.
And then she also has the new code, and then she has several other programs. But the people that were in my Wealth Conscious Academy, that were all walks of life, all ages, you know, and some of them were very, very much on her wavelength, Corrina's wavelength, and they knew, you know, like the word codes and downloads and, you know, galactic and like all that. To me, that was like these are like movies that my husband watches.
Now, the reason those movies exist, Sally, I mean, we may not go down that rabbit hole, but there's a reason that they're in our movies.
I will tell you now that they make a lot more sense to me than they. I'm like, huh, correct.
Right.
Huh. You know, like now I don't get as much, you know.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, wow, that's so weird, and they did that 30 years ago.
I know. I mean, all you have to do is go back and watch like the original Matrix. I mean,
I know, it's so crazy.
That's all there. I mean, that's where I talk about the old money matrix and the new money matrix. It's But go ahead. Yeah, let's get to,
decoding
some of this.
Yeah, so I was like, so that's exactly the way. So when she used matrix and things like that, I was like, seriously, is she pulling this out of movies? Right. So right. Honestly, that's the way I was thinking, because I'm so just. I don't know, just Texas country hayseed. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
And even thinking, being an astrologer, people think that's way out. Yeah. Not compared to where you are. No. And so, can you speak to some of these words? Because sure. I remember, what is a download? And I remember another classmate of mine who I love dearly, dear friend now, her saying, I don't know what a download is. And you said, yes, you do. You get them all the time. Like, what is a download? What is a code? What is this? Can you decode some of these words?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'll explain. I'll give a kind of an example of those two things, but then I want to go big picture for a moment to help. Okay. But a download is really just coming into a higher state of consciousness or a higher state of awareness, and that you all of a sudden receive new understanding. Okay, it's just new understanding, which is intuition. It's knowing. I describe it as literally a second before you didn't know it, and now you know it. Like, it's an instant flash. Okay, so a download, it's a flash of awareness, a light bulb moment. That's what it is, right?
Like, wow, I should have had a VA.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Right. It can be like that, because it is. It's like, that's what I need. Oh, I need this. It'll fix my problem. Like, that is actually a download. And why do I call it a download? Because it's coming from, often it's either coming from your future that's already made that decision to get a VA, right? It's already made that decision. It says, hey, Sally, let me throw you this. Like, this will help, right? Or if you're opening up to the more esoteric questions about, who am I? What is my purpose? What exactly is this reality we're living in? What's happening on planet Earth? If you start asking questions like that, you'll get the download. You will. It will come. Because there is a part of your consciousness which is connected to all consciousness, which, I call God, is going to, you're expanding yourself to actually unify with that intelligence. So you get the hit. You get the hit. Oh, okay, there it is. All right. The more you practice that and allow yourself to go into those expanded states, which is why meditation is really helpful for that. Prayer is helpful for that. Any sort of energetic clearing work you can do to clear out noise is really to open you up to the downloads, because it will teach you what is actually real. Most of us are living day in and day out in an illusion. These thoughts in our heads that keep us running, worried, stressed, anxious, all that is, all that's going to stop you from making money, for one thing. It's like this block. It'll stop you from peace, from ease, joy, all those things. Okay, and the more you expand your consciousness, you'll live in a more beautiful place. You will get the downloads. Things get simpler because you get the answers that you need. All right, so that's a download. Now, code gets a little more, the best way for me to describe it is, I've got to go big picture, which is, we live in a hologram. Okay, we live in a hologram. What's a hologram? Well, everything we see around us, we think it's real, but it's not. It is actually an expression of what we are projecting from within ourselves. Now, I know that gets real, like, you could stay up late at night drinking wine talking about that. I guess that, like, real philosophical kind of thing, or laying under the stars, like, what's it all about, right? But that's what I'm talking about. It's this, is this even real? Well, the truth is, it's a dream. And you're living in your dream. And as you begin to awaken, you realize that. And you go, who's creating this dream? What's creating this dream? And you begin to discover that the reality you live is some version of somebody else's dream, the collective, that's the old money, right? Collective culture, lineage that's in you, inherited patterns. and some mix of what you want, right? But as you awaken and become to discover that, you say, well, I actually can have control over that reality then, because this is my dream. Okay? So reality behind what you're living is actually encoded like a computer program. Like a computer program, it is encoded with somebody else's dream, the old money system, which is, struggle and hard work and, greed and manipulation, all those things. That's a code. That money's encoded that way. Versus, well, I would like to live a new code of money. I'd like to live one where, yes, it is love. And I would like to open up to the universal laws of abundance, that God created. And that's how I would like to encode my reality. Okay, so when you become aware that, first of all, reality is an illusion, you're living in a dream, who's dreaming that dream? Then you say, I'm going to take back my dream. Then you start to say, okay, well, how would I like to imprint my reality? How would I like to encode it? That is when you realize that you can be a co-creator. And that is actually what we're designed to be. Each human being at our higher level of consciousness, at our higher embodiment of ourselves, we are co-creators. Life isn't just happening. You are creating it. Okay? So I hope that helps. I mean, the other piece is that individually, inside your heart, you carry codes. And the work that I do is to help people to awaken their soul codes. Because inside those soul codes are your destiny. It's what you came here to do. It's that highest dream that you dreamed. And when you become aware of that and you start to awaken that and tap into that, then you start to experience it. And it will clear out all the BS basically that has nothing to do with your dream.
Yeah. Preach it, sister.
Preach it. But this is what I want for everybody, because it's possible. And there's so much suffering, Sally, on the planet, and suffering because, they're living in a default reality that is not one they chose. So awakening that's the first thing, is to awaken and say, well, I didn't choose this reality. Who chose it? Not me.
Yeah.
My desire and intention is to be a sovereign human being, and I create my reality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So having said that, tell me what, if you were going to give, say, 2 or 3 tips on,
right.
Obviously, we've got creating, you're about money and changing money and the energy of money. Money is just energy, right? That's one thing I've learned from you. Money is just energy. It's just a dollar bill is just a piece of paper, but it's really just energy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you were just going to give a few tips on changing the way you think about money.
Yeah.
You have fear or negative views or money blocks. What are some of the things you would just do?
Yeah. I mean, the quickest thing is start to play with the idea that money is love. I mean, that's the first, it honestly is, because for probably everyone that's listening, this is the first time you've ever even considered that idea. And I know when I first started to talk about it, people would get angry, which is interesting. But that's because they felt like, well, it's not love. Look at what money does. It creates exploitation. It creates environmental damage, all these things, right? But that is how it begins for you, all right? To tap into the new source of money is allow this concept to begin to work on you. It is actually an energetic tool. It's a mantra. You could think of it like that. Money is love. Write it on your checks. Write it, if you write out bills or something somewhere in your accounting books, write it there. Think about that when you're paying your bills. Okay, so and then get curious about that. So if money is love, all right, how do I feel about paying the cable company? How do I feel about paying the cell phone bill? How do I feel about paying something I don't want to pay, my taxes, right? Can you begin to discover how that is to love? Now, why is this important, right? Because I'm all about, like, lately, Sally, my stand is like, I want people to understand they require money as love, right? It's not just a beautiful idea, a beautiful concept. Well, why do you require it? Well, here's the truth. If you want to get out of the rat race of, you know, money being outside of you, having authority over you, controlling you, maybe a job controlling you because you're staying in it for the money, or anything that you're doing for the money because you feel obligated, feel like it's the only way, right? If you want to break that in your life, you want to shift out of that, you want something more, then you require this relationship with money that is love. It is a stepping stone into your purpose. It's a stepping stone into a new way of making money. It's a stepping stone actually into having infinite wealth in your life. Because through your soul, which is infinite, that is the potential. Through human created money, it is not. It is not, because it is actually designed for some to have a lot and the majority to have little. That's the design, the energetic pattern and design of the old money. So if you don't like that system and you're done with that, and you're like, yes, give me a new way. Money is love is your ticket. The heart is going to be the space. One of the things, you know, in the free gift that I'm offering everyone, you will learn how to begin to activate wealth from within using this powerful intelligence you have inside yourself, which is the heart. All right, so you'll get to learn exactly how to do that. But what I would say, Sally, is keeping it real simple with, like, just money is love, and starting to realign your thoughts. So when you think about money as actually a loving exchange, that might mean you have got to do some forgiveness, right? Like, I remember going through that with, the utility companies or whatever, feeling like for years, they're gouging us, that kind of like thing, right? Because yes, in the old money system, you feel exploited all over the place, right? There's all this take, right? Okay, heal that relationship. We want to heal money. We want to change what money looks like. It's up to us. It's up to us. And you'll be amazed at things that will happen. I remember, I was just sharing this story with someone yesterday, which is, I remember when I first started doing this, and like, there was a car insurance bill that I was like, I don't know, like I missed a payment or something. And then they like messed up my registration, which I lived in Massachusetts then. And then, you couldn't drive your car. So I was like, man, and we all go through these bureaucracies, and then it has like a personal impact and these ripples. Okay, well, I needed to forgive like the human error and how that messed up my day, my week, whatever. And I did that forgiveness. And I remember then calling the car insurance company, okay, I'm good. I'm just going to figure this out and just take care of it. And they were like, no, you don't owe any money. And I was like, what? It was astonishing. Like, that has happened more than once for me. Like, that's just clearing. And I don't know why. Like, at the moment, I don't know why. I do get why, because you actually can shift your hologram. It's a little trippy there. We don't have time to get into that, but that's like where you actually project a new version of yourself into this reality. And it's the version of yourself that didn't owe that money. So it's very interesting what can happen when you just simply decide that money is love. And that's going to be your new come from with money.
Mm-hmm. I remember that was one of the first things that really, that I still do. That is one of the very first things that I've learned from you was imprinting money. And I still do it to this day. And I teach that.
Yep.
I teach it to everyone that I know. They'll go, what are you doing? I don't care. And I do not care if I have to make people wait behind me. I imprint my money. I imprint my money. And they'll say, what? I've never seen anybody do, what are you doing? And sometimes they'll look at me like I'm crazy. And then some people really you know, but some people really sit there and read, like, what did she just write on that? Well, that's such a complicated, you know, because money is service.
Yeah.
Money is love. Money is truth. Money is God. Money is gratitude. Yeah. Those are the five main, main money codes, right?
That's right.
And I firmly believe in all of those. And I think that even if, you know, it took me a while, like, okay, and I wrote down each one of them why they work, and for myself, right. But also, even if it does nothing more than taking that $1 bill that you wrote, you know, that's worth 3 cents, whatever, on the world market, and you've written it on that we're not supposed to deface. You didn't hear it here, but
right. Right. But there's a reason for that too. I can talk about it, because if you really look at a dollar bill or any currency, look at what is encoded on it.
All those
symbols and everything that are on there is part of the symbols of the old money. They've encoded it. So what I'm talking about is, if you don't want to participate in that money system and you want to encode your money to act and behave differently, this is how you start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, you know, you're sitting there and you're thinking, at least if this is energy, at least you're causing someone to look at this, really pay attention to this $1 bill. And they're putting some energy into reading that word, love.
Right. Right. I love that. I love it's a disruption to the pattern, right? This, someone stops and sees something new, which is what, I mean, paradigm shifts are about. And going back to astrology, right? Because I know enough to know that that's what astrology will, you know, can show, that there's going to be these bigger shifts, right, of consciousness, which is going to bring in new thought, is going to bring in a new physical reality ultimately, because it brings in new technology, it brings in, you know, just new understanding, right? And that's what we're on the precipice of actually stepping into, you know, the new age, the Aquarian age, the golden age, and there's all these names for it, heaven on earth, you know, the new earth. Well, that is about this huge dramatic paradigm shift about who we are, what is the purpose of our being, which is ultimately going to shift this planet into a healed planet, into a peaceful planet, where, you know, we evolve into these light beings. I mean, we are light beings, but we're in the future, and what I have seen, I mean, it gets really wild, you know, and all I can do is share what I see. And I know enough now that the things that I see do come to fruition. So I believe them when I see them, that, you know, we're becoming human beings of light, where we exchange on these vibrations of light. And, you know, it's wild. It's really, really wild. But, you know, this is the thing, you know, it just begins with imprinting. Some will say it's the thought, but it really comes first from the heart, because it's this sense, this knowing, you know, that I actually have power. I have the power to change what my money does.
Mm-hmm. Boy, I'm buzzing right now. I know. I am, like, my lips are, my face is. Okay, so we're going. I'm going to go just a little bit longer with you. I wanted to talk a little bit, because I know you're working. You do a lot of work with light workers, and you're on a mission. I want to talk about your mission.
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah. So, you know, here's my mission. And when I say this is not like I just want to do this, or I was, you know, said, no, it'd be, you know what, I really want to, you know, like, make a difference on it. It didn't come from, like, thinking. It was, again, you know, encoded in me, like, this is my destiny. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing, which is to create ultimately the transfer of money to the light. So money to the light, right? Now, there are those on this planet, and astrology talks about this, and prophecies talk about this, that, you know, whether it's the children of the sun or the rainbow tribes, again, coming to the Aquarian age, which is that there will be a group, and there are, I mean, all your guests on this show, those that are listening to this, you know, you, Sally, like, we hold the light, we are bringing in the light, that, you know, has taken on this terminology of light worker, sometimes, you know, the light tribe. But I simply see it as those that know that they are here to create a change on the planet for the better, right? They're healing the planet, they're healing humanity, they're doing good in the world. Doing good in the world, you know, heart-centered beings, human beings that are saying, you know what, I'm here to make a difference, I care. And their come from is love. And, well, why? Because there's something different about them. Just came in knowing, like, and went through an awakening, most likely, but, you know, came in knowing, like, kind of like, hey, this is kind of a messed up place. Right? Like, why is everyone like so mean and so isolated and cranky and whatever, you know, like just this sense that there was something off. All right. So my mission, as I understand it, because I'm always just getting pieces, I'm always just getting pieces, and then I run with it. Okay, got it. Okay, this is the next piece. Is that, you know, money on this planet has been possessed by, you know, greed, by, you know, corporations that haven't always had humanity's best interest or the Earth's best interest in mind. And where I put my trust in knowing is that those that want to make a difference, that are heart-centered, that are carrying this light inside of them, not only do they deserve to have the money, we are in a time where they will get the money, because there is actually a divine will, a higher will that says it is so, it is must. This is that like Martin Luther King quote that I love where he says, you know, the universe arcs towards justice. We're at that time, and I'm sure it's in astrology, Sally, it must be, where it's like, it's at the time of the balancing of the worlds. And in the balancing of the worlds is when justice is done, which means that the criminals on the planet are going to be revealed. And the ones that are actually, you know, meant to inherit the earth, this is, you know, the meek shall inherit the earth, you know, the peacemakers, it's in the Bible. You know, all these little glimpses and bits that we have gotten through our scripture and, you know, prophecies, astrology, they're telling us that this is so. All right. So who are these people? They are the light. And I'm helping to awaken those who say, hey, because so many also have felt that money, either they just want to get rid of money because they feel like they've never been able to have access, or they've been jerked around by it, or they're not valued by this economy. My job is to help them see that money is not a bad thing. And in fact, we get to recode it. We get to use it as part of our way of doing our work to create this amazing shift on the planet into love and into peace. And, you know, that's it takes work, right? Because there's this programming around money that's with everyone, but particularly I see it with the healers and the light workers, because they've just been very disenfranchised from money. Right? A lot of poverty consciousness, a lot of, like, I can't charge for my services, or when I charge, like, people don't want to pay, and, you know, valuing themselves and seeing their worthiness. My knowing is that those that are carrying the highest light are meant to be paid the most. It is a reordering of our priorities on the planet. Right? It's the flip, because what was it before? Well, those that damaged the earth the most, or exploited the most, or bottom line things the most, were making the most money. Well, now we have the reverse. That's justice. And that's what's happening on the planet. Fires me up. I think it's so awesome. It's about time.
Yeah, it is. That's the way it should be. So that's what you call the new wealth.
The new wealth, exactly. The new wealth. The new wealth, it's encoded with light, and therefore it actually resonates and vibrates with those that are also vibrating with the light.
Mm-hmm. And that's what, that to me, that is exactly, for people out there that follow astrology, that's what resonated with me when, that to me, that speaks of Uranus and Taurus. So that's max goodness. Yeah. That's where you're working with Uranus and Taurus. That's what Uranus would like.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Because I don't know what that means. What does that mean, Sally?
Taurus is, Taurus is structure, and it's spiritual, and manifesting money, and it's materialistic. It's stable, and it likes to sit still and be, it's very grounded. It's old money,
Right.
It's grounded, and manifesting, right?
Yep.
And Uranus is the one that likes to, it likes to reinvent, and it likes to come in, and likes, it's for revolution and breaking up. It likes to break up old structure.
Right.
And
right. That's what we're doing. Yeah. And I think, I think now that you're sharing that, Sally, I think one of the things, again, just to go back to my point around you require this, because I really want everyone to get it, because it's really not a choice. And I think astrology would back me up on this. What you're describing is, we're in a time when it's happening. It's going to be happening. The structures are coming down, and being reinvented. That is happening. So do you want to get on that, like the top of the wave of it, right? And have greater ease with that, and have access to this new money, this new wealth, and learn about it and manifest and create the reality as you choose it? Or do you want to fall down with the structures and have pain and suffering? And, we have that. We have both going on. We have this very small fraction of our, human family that's like, yeah, I know what's happening. I'm riding with it and creating it and all of that. And then the others are getting hit by the wave.
That's right. That's right. So you either go with the energy or you resist it. Right. And then you take that hit. You just keep taking that hit, keep taking that hit, keep taking that hit. It's gonna happen regardless.
Exactly. That's the point. I mean, it is happening, right? I mean, we look everywhere in terms of the, these are those chaotic energies that are creating the deconstruction of the old structures, right? In order to rebuild. But when you are tapped in to the heart intuition, you will see and know that it is all perfect. Mm-hmm. It won't scare you. The global stuff won't scare you, and the personal stuff won't either. You will actually see it as necessary. And with tools like money is love, money is God, money is service, like with those tools, you actually know how to approach it. Mm-hmm. You know how to approach it, and then you're empowered.
Because it's all happening for us.
Yes, that's correct. Right? That's right. Yeah, we actually, the truth is, everything you intended and asked for to come in, but even on that, like those larger forces, we want that because we want change.
That's right.
And we've asked for this change.
That's right. That's absolutely correct. So just so you know, just so you have this background, like, so Uranus has not been in Taurus since this big stock market crash and the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl. Taurus also rules agriculture. So, the big Dust Bowl. So now we've got the global warming going on.
Right.
Roosevelt did the New Deal.
Right.
Back then, the atom bomb was created. So that's invention. It also rules explosions.
Right. That's right.
Uranus also rules Aquarius.
Oh, it's so fascinating. It's so fascinating. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what.
It moves very slow, but that's what it does, and it loves to redeem social conditions.
Yeah.
So this is why I think this is such a good, and really nobody on the show has talked too much about Uranus and Taurus, because everybody kind of panicked, because everybody
really?
War II. Well, it was it was a very hard time for a lot. Look at all the kings that fell at that time. Right. So it was very scary.
And that's why I come back to, you need to know this stuff. Not only know like this is happening, but you need to empower yourself with these tools, because you don't need to be worried or concerned unless you truly believe that your destiny and your fate is connected to our current financial system and structures.
Right. Right. We just
Right.
need to, it's just a tool. The whole thing is astrology. We all have free will.
Right.
We all have free will. And astrology is just a tool. God created everything,
Right.
I believe.
Yeah.
And it's the energy. And astrology is just somebody that's interpreting, has the ability to interpret, and a lot of it is intuition. There are people that interpret it one way, and some people interpret it another way. There are good ones, there are bad ones, and you may resonate with one person better than another person. That doesn't make, one better than the other, and some people don't need it at all. And, but some people could really use an astrologer.
Yep.
And some people it's just such a good tool to use for self-development.
That's what I was going to say. It's smart. It's just smart.
What do you think about people, and then I'm going to ask you about your free gift, but what do you think about people that have money, that make a lot of money, and then they just can't hold on to it? It just slips.
Well, it depends. I mean, there could be different things going on with an individual like that. There are patterns of, here's the thing I would say. I talk about underlying, like whether you have money or don't have money. Very few people are actually in wealth consciousness, even if you have money. So you can still be in poverty consciousness and have money. And I would say someone like that in this, hypothetical situation, that's probably the case, right? Which means then they're still operating from, what is poverty consciousness? This, a fear consciousness where there is fear that you won't have enough, that you're limited, and there's never enough. And so therefore, that's the result. There isn't enough. It's gone, right? The money's gone. And that adds up to your behaviors and maybe how you spend money, or perhaps, but I would say it's more, because it's not about, like, I don't think there's anything wrong with spending money or, on anything, as long as it's healthy, for you. But it's more about your beliefs about being able to replenish that money, right? And to continue, because it's about flow, which is this reciprocity, right? Creating and giving it, creating and giving, creating. If it's just the going out, okay, there's still something that hasn't come into that full wealth consciousness, in your thoughts, in your beliefs, and that's all showing up in how you spend. But this is also how the universe works, meaning, again, when you tap into wealth consciousness, you tap into what is universal law, which is reciprocity. That's the ask and it is given, right? There's this two-way flow, but you've got to activate that within you, because if you haven't activated that, you're coming from this very narrow, energetic relationship to your reality, and that will limit the amount of money you can have, and it will keep you stuck in those kinds of patterns.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that was a big thing for me, money blocks and all that, is all my life I've been such a giver,
right?
And I think that has come from a place of where I had a lot of, I don't know, like, I think I was just born with guilt and shame. I don't know why.
Yeah, that comes along though with human conditioning. We're conditioned to have guilt and shame.
Yeah, and I don't know why. But I think I did. But I really didn't know how to, and it still is hard for me to really be able to receive.
Yeah.
And that's
worthiness. Yeah, you're worthy, feeling worthy of the gift of the receiving. And here's what you could just say is crazy about that thought, right? I mean, that's a sickness on this planet. It's a dysfunction, I will say, on this planet, is so much unworthiness. And what's crazy to me about that is, like, it's so off from what is natural. What is natural is, and what I mean by natural, we could just look at nature and a flower and trees. Like, they're constantly in a state of giving and receiving, constantly, right? Receiving the sunlight to create food, okay? Receiving it is natural. It is universal law and natural. So that shame or the, not feeling worthy of receiving is unnatural.
Mm-hmm.
Coming into the divine human that you are is to realign yourself into what is actually natural, and I could say even normal. Like, it is normal to receive.
Mm-hmm.
And the more we understand, like, wow, I'm kind of like got this dysfunctional thought, that's not normal, right? Not to judge yourself, but to find it and say, you know what, like, everything, rests upon giving and receiving. It is this relationship. It's a universal law. And then you say to yourself, would you like to be a part of that universal law? Yes, I would. Okay. So allow yourself to receive, just like the flower receives the sun.
I think it's because when we're little, we're always told it's better to give than to receive. But that doesn't mean, like you're told, it's always better to give than to receive. Well, yeah, it's because, of course it's better to give than receive. But we're never told, but yeah, you can receive too.
Right. That's the gratitude. Money has gratitude, like everything is a gift. And to appreciate when someone wants to give, because that's the other side of it. I mean, as a parent, like, you just want your kids to understand and appreciate things, right? Mm-hmm. And that, of course, isn't appreciate in the giving, right? Being generous, but appreciate in the receiving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's so funny, like all those little words that you say to children.
Right.
And then they keep it so literally. It's better to give than to receive. And then you're like, okay, but, ooh, wow, you're really saying, what's the other one that, like money is evil, or what the other one that we talk a lot about?
Money doesn't grow on trees. There's that one.
Yeah, money doesn't grow on trees, and
which is all about limitation. Like, there's this finite amount of money. That's the old money system. That's actually not true.
Mm-hmm.
Not true.
It's easier for a rich man to for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to go to heaven, something like that.
Right. All programming us about feeling shame about money, whether you like. Yeah, so you can't win there. I mean, that's the way I hope, our audience is getting. It's like, it just gets so illogical and crazy. Like this, like, like, okay, what if you actually said, I would like to learn what is universal law, cosmic law, God law, whatever works for you. And I always tell people, look at nature, because they're not programmed like we've been programmed, like they're just not in this societal programming that has taught us to, not believe in ourselves, to not, be in our power, all that. Like, nature doesn't have that stuff. And so if you look at nature and the design of nature and how nature thrives, they're demonstrating to us the universal laws. Well, guess what? We are a part of nature.
Yeah.
We're a part of nature. And if you activate your natural abilities, your natural design, you will be in that flow, and you will never have to worry. You'll never have to worry.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, all right. So I've kept you so long, and this has been such a great interview. Can you tell the viewers about your gift?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it's called the 5-Day Transformation Activate Your Wealth. And what it is it's you may have done it, it's pretty much what I'm going to give to you is, in 5 days, the tools. Each day builds upon the other for how to activate wealth within, how to work with this heart muscle and this energy center to open up that wealth within, so that you can learn, the money codes that we're talking about here. Money is love, money is God, money is truth, money is service. All of that I teach. And what it does for you, not only are you going to have these tools that you can practice then every day, because by the time you complete it, you'll realize, like, in 2 minutes every day, you'll be able to just activate that wealth within you. but you will also, be at a higher vibration. And that's ultimately the point, because when you maintain that higher frequency of who you are, things get easier, there's more flow in your life, things make more sense, and you just have this sense of calm about like how things are going to line up for you in your life. And I want everyone to have that. So sign up for the gift, enjoy it. I really do go deep, and I give a lot of content in there.
Your trainings are amazing, and I will tell you that it will change your life. It will change your life if you're living in any kind of lack, even if you have money, and if you're living in any kind of lack in your life in any way, it's going to change your life if you do any of her teachings or your coaching. It's her coachings. It's remarkable what you're going to hear and what you're going to experience. Her activations are magical, quite frankly.
Yeah, they are powerful. They are powerful.
It'll take you to a different place.
They do.
Corrina, I love you so much, and I'm so grateful, and I'll be grateful for a lifetime. And I'm going to get emotional.
Oh, Sally. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.